It's now 7:08. By the way, I'm shooting video on my, I had to think about it for a second. My second iPhone 6S Plus. Part of me wanted to say my first iPhone 6S Plus, but that would be the one that's got the rub marks on the back that I bought from a friend of mine, often affectionately referred to as Cell Phone Jesus, whom I've completely lost touch with. I'm very bummed out about that. This one here is the replacement that I bought the day that one was stolen out of my bins. I know I've told that story before. I'm not going back into that, but whoa, look, shoes. These look like nice shoes. They're Adidas. It's just too big. That's way too big for me. And God knows what kind of foot funks in there. Oh, by the way, I did get my socks. And this is a great deal. I love Didi's discounts. It's kind of like a wannabe Ross. I mean, it honestly, it feels like shopping at Ross. Although, I looked over the electronics. I was like, buy random charging cables. But I don't really need any, so I just kind of passed on them. But yeah, $12.99. And I've never heard of the brand, Socklets, but 20 pairs. 20 pairs for $13, and check them out. They're they're short stocks, which, I mean, it's 115 out, and obviously I'm wearing shorts. Now, I don't wear the shorts at work, but these feel fairly well made and thick and comfortable. They're not those cheap ass thin socks, so very happy about that. That's exactly what I was looking for. Anyways, I was saying, I'm shooting a video on my second iPhone 6S Plus, the one I bought from Cricket, which is still carrier locked to Cricket, which is why I still have no service on it. Still have no service on my main phone number. My God. I've gone 7 months. I have a prepaid phone service on a number that I don't even have attached to a phone. God, that was a waste of money, wasn't it? I mean, not necessarily a waste of money. It's preserved my phone number. I still have that phone number. I don't know. I've just gotten to the point I just don't give a shit anymore. But, anyway, oh shit. Whoa! Motherfucker, no! Dude. Yeah. No. Wow. Wow. You know, aggressive homeless people was something I was kind of mentally prepared for. Aggressive dogs from friendly homeless people that they claim are friendly dogs is not something I was mentally prepared for. So, damn. On that note, I'm so bothered by homeless people with dogs. Like if you can't even provide a home for yourself, what the fuck you doing with a dog? Seriously. I mean, I get it, maybe it's a useful thing for protection, especially for women that are homeless, but get yourself in a shelter. Get your fucking shit together. I've never in my life, I can't think of a single time, this is so not what I was going to talk about today, but here we are. I can't think of a single time in my life when it's been easier to find work. And easier to get to that work if you have nothing. And for those who've been following my blog for any length of time, y'all remember that Route 29 bus being one of the main ways I got around. And I got around. And I didn't mess with job interviews. I wasn't in shape to mess with job interviews. She gets a pass. That woman there, she's an example of how American society needs to be taking better care of its elderly. I should have saved for retirement. Yeah, whatever. That doesn't always work. There should be a safety net for people that are her age. But that young dude whose dog came at me, no, there's no reason. There's no excuse. I've gotten so much work in the last several years. Like what we're talking 4 years, 5 years, however long I've been running this stupid vlog, and most of it, no job interviews, just I mean, just show up, download something, put your information in, show up, work. That's it. Show up and work. No, the guy in the Bolt has left. And I've made it up to a whopping 53%. Hey, it's higher than it was when I left. Not really in any rush to get anywhere, but there's quite a bit I wanted to get off my mind. So let's walk around. Let's walk around the Heart Hospital and see if we can make security nervous. To be fair, I am on private property, so my whole shoot video in public doesn't apply here. So if they tell me I got to shut off my phone, I'm shutting off my phone. But just for the record, I'm not trying to get video of anyone or anything that would violate HIPAA. And if I turn in an odd direction, it's because I'm trying not to capture anybody on video here. On that note, isn't that catwalk cool from the hospital to the parking garage? Love that. Reminds me when I first saw those chargers on PlugShare. When I got my phone, or when I got my electric car, I was genuinely expecting them to be inside this parking garage. Well, so that's a lab building there, but I'm pretty sure there's a park. Maybe that is a lab building. Maybe that's not a parking garage. There's on the Heart Foundation. I don't know why I always thought that was a parking garage. That is not a parking garage at all. That's another medical office building. Okay, I don't know how. I guess I've always just looked at it at a distance and assumed parking garage. But no, there's additional parking over here on the surface lot. And this used to be another business. This used to be a vacant lot that was another business. So it's interesting that Abrazo Hospital has purchased it, or leased it, or whatever, and just thrown asphalt down and added parking. But it makes sense. I mean, property is something that's very much in limited supply, especially in good locations like this. And by good, I don't mean good neighborhood. I mean central location. I mean, medical facilities being near other medical facilities is a good thing. So you got the Heart Foundation there, you got the Heart Hospital there, which has a full service ER, by the way. And then you got the Phoenix Children's Hospital, which is, well, world renowned, considered one of the best in the world for children that need serious medical attention. So, yeah, it makes absolute perfect sense for them to want to grab this property here for future use, and in the meantime, just slap some asphalt on it and have some overflow parking. Anyway, what I was going to say before I realized it was completely irrelevant and realized that wasn't a parking garage is when I first saw that charger, I was completely expecting it to be located inside a parking garage and inaccessible. There are a few parking, car chargers that are in parking garages here. I actually have found them to be accessible without having to pay for parking, which is something that a lot of level 2 EV chargers in this area I can't say about. There's been several I've tried to go to, and then I found out, I was like, oh yeah, I have to pay an arm and a leg to park in there. And suddenly the reasonable charge for charging was not reasonable anymore. Which again, like, it makes sense if you're parking there and you need to park there and you need to pay for the parking to park there. But for someone who's like myself, most likely just looking to park and charge my car while I go run other errands and go elsewhere, yeah, not worth it. Especially when there's locations as good as that that are free. I did get kind of lucky getting an available charger there today, though, because quite often I roll through there and they're all occupied. There is one in this parking garage straight up ahead of me that's, I forget what the deal is there. If memory serves, it's like free for a little bit of time, and then it's a little on the high end of reasonable for a little bit of time. But there's a hard limit on it, and if you go over that, suddenly they just start charging you a lot. As far as, you know, like they bill you a lot of money for being parked there, and they stop your car from charging. So you don't even at least get the perk of, well, I'm massively overpaying for power for my car right now, but hey, at least I'm getting power right now. Yeah, it's just, I used that Corey over at Rips one night. I used the charger in that parking garage because the ones where I'm at were completely occupied, and yeah, that's how I found that out. And unfortunately, like that kicked in pretty much right as we were heading to the car anyway. So I don't think I actually got hit with that fee. If memory serves, like I got a pop-up notice warning me about that fee, or reminding me that that's how it was going to work shortly for it. I don't know. Maybe I got hit with it a little bit. I think what happened is I'm trying to remember that night, and I could go through my ChargePoint app and maybe see it in my history there. But now that I'm thinking about it, I think the way that went down was I got a pop-up notice from ChargePoint. I looked at the app, saw that my car was no longer charging, and that I had like 10 or 15 minutes to disconnect it and move it. Well, let's face it, disconnect it. They have no way of knowing whether you moved it or not, but disconnect it before I would suddenly incur a pretty hefty hourly fee for being connected to it while not charging, because I went over the time limit. Most chargers don't have that kind of issue, but it's something you got to be kind of cognizant of when you're using those kinds of public chargers. You know, and this is not going to be another one of my discussions about public EV chargers, which I'm sure bore everybody to tears, but nor was it going to be about the crazy homeless with aggressive pets thing. There's a part of me, honest to God, wants to call Phoenix Animal Control about that, but that dog's got a bad enough life. The last thing it needs to be is locked up and possibly ended by Phoenix Animal Control. But I do feel bad. No dog should be stuck outside with a homeless bum that is refusing to work in an environment where there's just such an abundance of work. On that note, that's what I wanted to talk about today. Work. After wasting 13 minutes of this bullshit. Yeah. I realized in all those vlogs I did the other day, I never did explain what the hell happened with me at Jitsu. I just alluded to it. So that's the last time I was with Jitsu. I did not get paid for it as I expected. I have not contested it. I probably should, but it's like, is it worth it? I don't know. And when all the fine print is read, and am I going to come out on top of that, or are they going to find a way of interpreting that? It's like, well, nope, you didn't hold up your end of the bargain, even though my end of the bargain was like upholding my end of the bargain when they didn't uphold their end of the bargain would have completely screwed me in multiple ways. And I keep alluding to it like that without explaining. So what happened, and this was not last Sunday, but the Sunday before. I forget the date. But hey, today is July 9th. So look at a calendar. Not last Sunday, but the Sunday before. I haven't been able to do as much Jitsu lately. I mean, I've been consistently doing my Tuesdays. It's Tuesday, well, no, even not doing that because I've been picking up overtime on Tuesdays. But anyway, I've been really having to cut down on the amount of Jitsu that I do. Oh, look, a cute little Fiat. I keep having I must be going the wrong way. I keep having to, I keep not being able to do it because they start them late. I know that it's going to take a little bit longer than what it's scheduled for at best. And now that my shift at HelloFresh starts at 5, usually at 5, occasionally 6 if I'm in the kitchen, as opposed to 7, there's just simply not time to do it beforehand. There's not. And they've been putting out the Jitsu stuff on Winolo. I haven't been seeing it on WorkWhile at all lately, but they've been putting it out on Winolo with start times in the afternoon. So, and it's usually 4 hours. Oh my goodness, there's a part of the building missing, I think. So if it's 1, it's, you know, if the start time is 1, we're talking 1 to 4, but if I'm lucky, it ends at 4. It's more likely going to end at 4:30, and more likely than not, it's going to end with me being in Queen Creek at 4:30. It's, you know, it's a pretty fast car, but it's not a time machine, and it doesn't feature teleportation. Oh yes, somebody definitely hit that with a high truck going through this driveway here. You know, and it does say caution, and it does. I can't really read it, but it does say the clearance. I haven't seen a building ouch like that in a while. See so many interesting things when you're walking that you don't see when you're driving. So yeah, they finally put one out earlier, not a lot earlier, but earlier enough I thought that I could pull it off. For Sunday, it was scheduled from 3:30 p.m. it was 11:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. And I'm thinking, well, it's a Sunday, so I'm not dealing with afternoon rush weekday traffic. And Sunday afternoon, I mean, there can be traffic, but generally speaking, it's not bad and it's avoidable. So even if I find myself in Queen Creek at 3:30 or 4 p.m., should be able to make it over to Goodyear by 5. Why not? Let's do this. I love doing Jitsu. Some extra money. Let's do it. Schedule myself for it. And then I also scheduled myself for the following Tuesday and Wednesday, because I never know a lot of times to last minute if I'm going to get a shift, overtime shift at Factor. Speaking of getting overtime shifts at Factor, and notice on that, I did find in writing, and I took a screenshot of it, where I am supposed to get at least 24 hours notice on that, which on my last shift I didn't. I want to talk about that too, because that was freaking crazy. But anyway, it's such an interesting alternative to a cul-de-sac. We got like 2 nubs. I can't recall if there was a street here before they put the freeway here. I don't think there was. It's kind of funny how that sidewalk comes out to this side street here, but it doesn't continue further north, even though it's possible to continue walking further north. Kind of wild how this freeway cut through what used to be a contiguous neighborhood here. And that's why a lot of people hate freeways, but I just love urban freeways. It is what it is. Sound wall there showing some age. And I can remember a time when this freeway didn't have that sound wall. When you drove over it, you could look out while you were driving and see all the neighborhoods below, which I'm sure sucked for the neighbors. But I mean, I can still hear the traffic now. I can only imagine how much worse it was back then. But then again, there was a lot less traffic back then. So, by the way, I'm walking next to the 51 freeway on the west side of it, heading northbound from Thomas. In case anybody wants to look at a map and figure out where the hell I'm walking. in the Valley of the Sun while it's still super damn hot outside. I've done this, I think I've only done this walk and vlogged it late at night, so kind of neat to be able to do this at a time where there's enough light for y'all to see where I'm going. This is some interesting infrastructure. We got a driveway there, and then it goes to an alley to the right, but the house over there has a gate that goes to it. Speaking of houses, oh my god, I saw this crazy house popped up on my Zillow feed. I'm looking at Zillow again because I want to check something. I just want to see what prices of houses were like in Cashin and Old Town Avondale. A lot more expensive than I was hoping, but whatever. At least now I know. And suddenly it's showing me some interesting stuff, and stuff on the cheap end, like, oh, we know you're poor, but we know you want to buy a house, so here, look at this. I'll try to remember to put a link in the description of this bizarre, super bizarro house that I looked at in West Phoenix. I actually went to the property and just kind of walked around it. I didn't schedule a viewing. I figured that's a waste of a realtor's time when I'm not in a financial position to actually buy it. But anyhow, back to my story about Jitsu. So anyway, I'm thinking, get down at 3:30, 4 o'clock. No matter where I'm at in the valley, I should be able to make it to work by 5. Just make sure that I got all my cold clothes with me. I've walked through there. I don't want to walk through. I've walked through there before. I don't want to walk through there. I'll go down this nub of a street here. I'm not sure what one it is. And again, this is a street that once upon a time used to be a through street going that way. And I think if you look at the map, you can still see remnants of what was on the other side. Maybe not. Most everything along 20th Street has been eliminated, including Urbandale Park, which was created by the addition of this freeway. Don't even get me started about that. I'm still pretty frustrated about the removal of Urbandale Park. And that's where this vlog started. I used to just go to Urbandale Park and shoot video of myself talking about what was going on. Not that anybody ever really watches videos or watches any of my videos for that matter. So this is Earl Drive. This is the quarter-mile street. Quarter-mile between Osborne, we're at dead center between Osborne and Thomas. Nice improvement on the sidewalk. For rent, 2 bed, 1 bath. $1,900 a month for $850 square foot. That's wild. So obviously this house is split into apartments. Wow. That's I have a 2-bedroom, 1 bath with more square footage than that, and I'm paying a lot less than that. Yeah, every time I actually see something like that, I realize just how fortunate I am to be where I'm at. And I would say the building I live in is a lot nicer than this as well. And also in a, generally speaking, nicer location. Although, God, I would love it if I had free public EV chargers this close of a walk from home. I would be regularly parking there and just walking back to my car later. Forget what street I'm on. Obviously it's not going to go very far. This is an interesting design for a front yard. A little astroturf and gravel. Certainly desert friendly. With loads of people will tell you lawns are evil. I like grass, but the lawns are evil people do definitely have some valid points. Well, we have no street signs left at this intersection. Whoops. Wonder how that happened. I love it when people actually add a sidewalk in an area where there's not a sidewalk and they do it creatively like this. I wish everybody who had property on a street without a sidewalk would make that effort. Not that that effort even got me to the end of the property, but I like that. So anyway, I take the ship. Should be not a problem. I get in there to find that Dorothy and the really sexy woman with all the tats, who's a little on the crazy side and rolls around with a pallet jack, who always take very good care of me, by the way. They're not there, which kind of surprised me. Wow, looks like we got new apartments going in right there. Some 4-story packing stacks. Somebody asked why they're all 4 stories. Somebody asked me, 19th Street. And somebody asked me, like, why they keep putting all these buildings in, why they're only 4 stories, not taller or not shorter. And I explained to them that that's Phoenix zoning ordinance, that they need to get a special variance to be taller. But that's the standard height set by zoning regulations in Phoenix. And when a developer builds something, they just want to get the most units and most revenue being generated from those units as possible. So that's what we get. Pack and stack, made out of sticks, pretty poorly built construction. And it's going to be wild for the people who have these houses, although I wonder how many of these are rentals, how many of these are owner occupied. Street looking kind of rough compared to a lot of neighborhood streets that I walk down. Look at that fake shutter all off to the side. Yikes. So anyway, yeah, Dorothy and the hot chick, his name I can never remember. Oh, nice. Historic vehicle plates. That's what an SUV should look like. It seems wild to me how many vehicles I remember being like new vehicles on the street, and what doesn't seem that long ago, rolling around with historic vehicle plates. And it's like, that's my daily reminder that, holy shit, Dan, you're old. In fact, I'm so old, I'm less than a month away from being able to live in retirement communities. God damn. So back to Jitsu. Any question why I never get these stories out? Like 26 minutes into this, and I'm making no progress on the actual story. Yeah, they're not there, but the guy who is there, who's setting up the routes, and there's a couple other people helping him out, but they look to be brand new temps. Always so many brand new temps there, which you kind of got to wonder why they can't keep people, shitty pay, shitty working hours, shitty working conditions. That's usually how it works. 18th place in Pittsburgh. Arrangement of this intersection is interesting. I don't think I've ever gone through this one before. Anyway, it's cooling off considerably now that the giant ball of fire has gone over the horizon. Well, now that's how boldly everybody's addresses should be displayed. Your delivery guys, thank you. We're not having any trouble finding 1812. So, that's a cute little house, by the way. That's what I want. It's a cute little house. I don't need a lot of space. I just want to own it, so I can actually build some equity, and so I can actually install my own level 2 car charger and not have the struggle I have right now to keep my damn car charged. I mean, I knew that when I was signing up for an electric car, so I can't act like one of those people who's all puzzled and surprised by it. Like, I knew that going into this. And to be honest, it's not that big of a struggle, but it is, and I don't have to be there right now. I got plenty of charge in my car. I could just bounce out. I chose to do that. I could have parked at Didi's. Been fine. I could have gotten my car as soon as I got there and threw the socks in it. I just feel like walking around and running my mouth. So the guy that's running stuff over at Jitsu, Sunday before last, is speaking of level 2 car chargers, it kind of looks like that's what's right there. Should I take a picture of it and post it on PlugShare? No, I probably should not do that. It's tempting though. I've definitely posted some on PlugShare that probably people didn't want shared. Nothing at somebody's house like that though. Always ones at businesses. Anyway, the guy that was there running is the guy that I usually see at Mesa, who used to be the person who ran the pallet jack when there was another manager signing out the routes. I liked her. I've heard some people talk some bad smack about her. I liked her. She always took very good care of me. I don't remember her name. Anyway, surprised to see, like the last few times I went to Mesa, he set up my routes, did me very well. Wasn't as efficient and good at it as the woman before him, but he got it done. And so surprised to see him, but happy as well to see him over at Jitsu in Glendale. And I asked him, since he was there, I said, well, did they shut Mesa down? And he said yes, and something about the manager being unwilling to pay enough people to man it, blah, 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 blah. Wow, that's an interesting modern rebuild in this whole neighborhood. Also, very well marked address numbers. God, that's why, and this is a lot of this is happening in older Central Phoenix neighborhoods, and this is where the gentrification starts. You gotta wonder though how tough of a sell a house that fancy and big is next to this. We're very close to where my daughter's car got stolen. That's a whole nother story for another time. And it was indeed stolen. I had a great conversation with her about that. So, she'd functionally abandoned it first, but, and looking back, maybe I should have helped her a lot more with that, but I was going through tough times, and she was just a mess and irresponsible and not really, and the car was in rough shape by that point anyway. So, I don't have enough on my car, on my own cars, they're in rough shape, right? So, as I was saying, dudes there doing the routes asked him about Mesa. He said they shut it down, doo-da, and he proceeds to set me up with my route, and there are quite a few different Winola people there. I waited my turn, but no complaints on how he assigned the route. Like, that went fine. Now, when I first got my route and I looked at it, I thought to myself, holy shit, that's a lot of stops, because it was just around 50 or so. And I thought, wow, that's a lot of stops. I don't know how I'm going to accomplish that in the amount of time I have, but hey, maybe it's a lot of deliveries, but maybe there's a bunch of packages going to the same address. Like that's a factor, especially when they're small packages. Hey, it's available. So bummed to see that building is now an auto glass place, because for many, many years it was a transmission, and they had the coolest sign they would roll out to that driveway right there that was like a giant transmission housing with like a dummy bent over inside it. It looked like everything from his torso was inside the transmission, and of course the transmission's not big enough to hold that much, so it was this super hysterical looking landmark. I miss that. I remember it. It's in my mind. I wonder if I Google hard enough I can find a picture of it. That's kind of sad seeing this spot vacant. I can't remember what used to be here, but in the famous words of Metal Leo, gone now. So anyway, I got my route. It's a lot of stuff, whatever. And it's like, well, let's scan it. I did notice that it was going to North Scottsdale, so hey, at least that's a whole lot closer. And yikes. A whole lot closer. I don't understand why the guy didn't go. He certainly had opening to go in front of me without cutting me off. Maybe he doesn't think that old shit box can accelerate fast enough to do that. The car is looking rough. So, oh, okay. God, I thought he was like pulling over to get aggressive with me, but he's just getting himself a double frappe mocha latte or whatever the fuck people get when they go to a Starbucks drive-thru. This street here, 18th Place, does not connect to the neighborhood I just came out of. I realize I was coming out on this street. Streets like this that don't disconnect to the surrounding neighborhood, but connect to major streets always kind of bum me out. And I feel like at one point in time this one did, but it doesn't now. Wow, look, it's at the end of this where they're building these new apartments. Okay, this warrants a closer look. I dig that staircase and balcony. That's pretty neat. It's not an architecturally great building, but I do like it. And I dig how it's got like the first floor parking and then elevated above it. I don't see a lot of that anymore. And And it's a very functional sort of, I mean, very car-centric, but still very functional sort of thing. And shaded parking in Phoenix is something that's, especially on days like today, something that's worth a lot, especially when you got to park your car for an extended period of time. And we've got it's looking kind of rough, the canopy, but we've got covered parking over there. Now, I do like that when I'm seeing more and more of those kind of canopies nowadays, I'm seeing ones with solar on it. Which, by the way, I found a new car charger that looks to be completely powered off solar like that. Not sure if I've shot a video of it yet or not. I get a feeling that's one I shouldn't be using, but I'm using it a lot. Just in the wee hours of the morning. Nobody's there. Nobody cares. But I feel like I'm stealing their sunshine every time I use it. So, oh, I love these big trees over here. Nice. I have never gone down this street before because I've always been very aware it doesn't go anywhere. Now it's going to have a lot of traffic on it when these apartments open up. Assuming these are apartments. Might be like assisted living. Who knows? Maybe there's a sign that tells me what's going in here. So, I'm making no progress on this story now. 36 minutes. Get to the point, Dan. The point is, what's over here? I'm exploring a part of Phoenix I don't think I've ever wandered to before, and there's very few of them. Rose Court, where life gets better. And speaking of assisted living and memory care community. Sort of thing on the news of a place like that getting shut down because the temperature was in the high 90s because their air conditioning was so bad. And I also heard on the news, and I've never heard this before, there is a law that landlords must provide air conditioning that gets the dwelling on the hottest days at least down to 81 degrees. I think they said 81, which is still pretty damn warm. Maybe it was 82. But which is not a problem. I can take my place down to damn near Arctic, but he's probably sitting at 80, 81 right now. And cats are fine with that. When I get there, I usually take it down to about 77. So it looks like it's going to be a Camden. Luxury apartments coming in here. Camden, living excellence. Sidewalk closed. So there are going to be, it's going to be residential, luxury residential. I like the catwalk up there. I don't know when this will finish, but I'm glad I got some footage of it in this phase. And for those unfamiliar with Camden, they have luxury residences all over the valley, probably all over the United States. I recall seeing them when I was traveling around Atlanta with Priscilla. So very much corporate, pricey housing. But oh, look at the full moon. That's cool. Anyway, I get my route. The pallet, it's not full, but it has a substantially decent amount of large packages that are labeled. And I notice I still have a shit ton of smalls. Anyway, I go in, I get my smalls pretty quick, throws them in a rolling, clean trash bucket. That's what they use for moving small packages around. Normally, I don't get that many smalls, but normally I work on Tuesday, and normally it's a whole lot of HelloFresh and Factor boxes. And apparently they're giving out the routes based on the size of the packages versus how long it takes to deliver them, which is all well and good, but then you need to be paying by the hour or by the package, as opposed to paying to complete the route in a certain time frame that is absolutely an impossibility for that many different packages. Which is, in a nutshell, that was the problem. I learned the hard way not to try to scan my small packages outside because it's going to be so bright I can't see the screen on my phone. And I need to see the screen on the phone to write the numbers down on the packages. It's kind of like Deliver It all over again. And I got the feeling Deliver It has gone out of business. I mean, not only are they not showing up on WorkWhile anymore, and they haven't for a while, but it seems like most of the packages that I saw at Deliver It, I'm now seeing at Jitsu. So it looks like Jitsu's got themselves on a self-destruct, just basically trying to deliver packages at a price point that's not profitable. and drivers are going to come in there and realize that, you know, it's like, yeah, this is a waste of my time and or gas or electricity, and fuck this shit, which is basically what I did. I mean, I didn't want to do that. My work ethic tells me not to do that, but 45 minutes into my shift, and I got screenshots of it, pictures of it, after scanning all my smalls and writing all the numbers on them in a way that is damn efficient. So if I was new, like, it would have taken me even longer. 45 minutes into the shift, I get everything scanned, marked. I don't have them in numerical order either. That's something I still got to do. I'd still need to load them in the car, but I have to scan. I figure I get about 30 minutes worth of work ahead of me organizing them, loading them in the car. But at this point, I'm all scanned. And the app is telling me, the Jitsu app, which is pretty damn accurate as far as like estimating drive times for going from point A to point B to point C and so on and so forth on your route. I don't use it for driving directions. I just always have it give me a link to a map and choose my own route. I'm convinced I can do it better than 99% of routing algorithms. And I do very well with that. And I like the way it does that. Like, that's my biggest issue with Beans, which is what Deliberate used for the routing, was that it was very difficult for me to get that view. It just always opened it in like a navigation mode. And I couldn't figure out how to change that. That's not a problem in Jitsu. Also not a problem in roadie, by the way. Still doing roadie. Had an interesting roadie run this morning and a couple this afternoon. I might get around to talking about that, but probably not. Shit, I haven't even got around to talking about last night at Factor, which was insane. A lot to talk about. But anyway, I get them all scanned. The one thing that it will not account for, it accounts for drive time fairly accurately. Now I can reduce that a little bit by some proficient driving, but sometimes I do get stuck in traffic, is what it is. But the two things that will definitely add to that time is gated communities where I'm not provided the gate code. And now that they've picked up a whole lot of stuff from the accounts that deliver it, had a problem with that. It's very much still a problem. And you can never get a hold of anybody to get code when you need to. That will add a lot of time to trying to deliver stuff. And sometimes I end up parking some way, a block away, and like shimmying under the gate with the damn package and delivering it on foot. But again, you know, that adds some time. That's a lot of hassle. It's also something I won't want to do when it's 110 degrees outside. But anyway, well, look at that. We got 2 chargers available. And the bolt's still here. So the other thing it won't give me an accounting for time is when I'm going inside a large like mobile home community or apartment community, finding a unit number, finding an apartment, finding a trailer, and then in some of those giant retirement communities, and some of them, they're literally a quarter of a square mile. So we're talking like a half mile by a half mile with its own street network. And there's very often only one way in and one way out. And once you get in there, it's a huge network of streets with a speed limit of 10 miles per hour. And, well, is that enforced? Oh yeah, it's enforced in the most literal way possible, which is to say that there's a whole bunch of old people on golf carts. 7.6 kilowatts, very nice, up to 58%. Now's a good time to go. I'm ready to go. It's hot out here. I'm not sure if I'm on this charger or the one behind me. I'm not going to untangle it, figure it out. I'm just going to plug it in that hole where I pulled it out of. I hit my unlock button to unlock the port because obviously I can't shut off that charger. Ooh, that made like an electrical pop sound. I'm gonna have to hang it there because the latch is broke. I definitely heard a spark jump. My juice hole looks all right. Did y'all hear that though? I definitely heard a spark. conditioning. I need my air conditioning. Yes, I still need to check my tire pressure. Leave me alone, car. I wonder if my drink is still cold. Probably not. A little watered down, but honestly not bad. Yeah, it won't account for that time. For time that I'm spending stuck behind golf cars going 10 miles per hour on a network of little tiny streets, trying to get back to the entrance so I can get back to actual streets on the time that is estimated. Anyway, the estimate that it gave me was like 4.5 hours. 4.5 hours. Mind you, I was only being paid for and only scheduled for 4 hours. So assuming all that was already done for me when I got there, which of course it isn't going to be, it was still 30 minutes ahead with no leeway for things that could possibly slow me down. And there's so many things that could possibly slow me down. And then I'm 45 minutes in, and I've easily got another 30 minutes of sorting and loading, putting the packages in my car. And I looked at that and I'm just like, and I'm at the point where I press one of two buttons, either accept the route or decline. Now, I've never declined the route before. I have had a couple times where there were issues with the route. I had one time it was like that. I had way too many packages. The estimated time was way too much over it, deliver it. And they did take quite a few off of my route. I feel like I had another time. I feel like there've been a couple of times, generally everything's fine, but there've been a couple of times where I've had some kind of issue with my route and like how long it was going to take, or yeah, there are way too many big boxes for me to fit inside my car. Can I just get one that's got more medium boxes? I don't even care how fucking far it is. Send me to fucking Santan if you need to. But if it doesn't fit in my car, it doesn't fit in my car. Anyway, Dorothy and the other gal always take care of it. So I bring that over and I show it to the guy that's running the stuff. I show him the time, and he goes, well, says something about how many people he has from Winolo. Like, that's not really my problem or have anything to do with me. But he's talking about, like, how many people he has from Winolo and how it's too much and too much money and blah, blah, blah. Again, like, that's, talk to the bean counters. Don't talk to the drivers about that. I'm just looking at, I'm being paid for 45 minutes ago when I got here and started working until 3:30, and this is telling me that I'm not going to be done until like 5, and I have to be somewhere very far from where I'm going to be at best ending this route at 5. I have to be on the other side of town for a job that's much more important and pays me a whole lot better. That, by the way, provides you guys with a substantial portion of your business to keep you afloat. So yeah, let's think about this. Anyway, I can't help but think if Dorothy was there, it would have been handled. But nah, this guy is just like this guy, he tells me this stuff that's, you know, whatever problems they are, they have nothing to do with me. And it says, he goes, well, if that's no good for you, then you can decline it. He did say you can decline it. He didn't say anything about there being any penalties for declining it. Now, I kind of half expect I'm probably going to be paid for that 45 minutes of work, never mind the round trip to fucking Glendale. You know, all the time I spent charging to make sure I could do the round trip to Glendale and the route. But nah, like, he made it sound like it'd be no problem. Like, you got to decline it. So I declined it. I took screenshots of, you know, what the time frame was that I was being paid for on Winolo, and what the Jitsu route was telling me for how many stops, and also how long it was estimating the drive time, and then a picture of all the work that I had done, like the 2 pallets, and a zoom in, and like, yeah, so you could see, like, I made the effort, and these were all I scanned this many packages, I marked this many packages. So even if they give that route to somebody else, like, I've done a solid amount of that their work for them, I need to be paid for that. And declined it, went home, pretty frustrated. I don't think I went home, I did some other stuff, but whatever, I left. And then I wake up to a message telling me that my
shift with Jitsu at Winolo had been canceled due to me canceling or no-showing, which I didn't either. I did not cancel or no-show within Winolo. I did not do that. And I got a screenshot of that message too. I did not cancel or do a late withdrawal or no-show within Winolo. I very much showed up on time, clocked in on time, did a certain amount of work, was asked to do something greatly beyond the scope of what I signed up to do, and which would have made me late for another important job. And at that point, I did what I was told I could do, which was to decline the route. But after doing 45 minutes worth of work, where he should have already checked that. He should have already known that, hey, this is not going to work in the time frame. Like, that's a fail on his part, not my part. And I can't help but think that not only would Dorothy have fixed that, but Dorothy would have never created that problem in the first place. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, kind of frustrated that it got cut off, but I was so irritated with what happened last time. I was like, whatever, fuck him. And what I didn't realize at the time, I didn't even open Winolo to look at stuff, but what I didn't realize at the time is that it only canceled my Tuesday route. It didn't cancel my Wednesday route. So Wednesday came and went, and I didn't notice until late at Wednesday night. I looked at it, and it showed it as being canceled. And then later I looked at my home screen on Winolo, and it told me I had a breach point, like a strike on me, for not showing up on Wednesday. And when I saw those pop-up messages, I honestly thought whatever shit, I just thought I'd all been canceled. In fact, I figured they'd given me a do not return. And it's kind of funny, I haven't been getting pop-ups telling me about available Jitsu routes like I was before. Like, I used to get a pop-up every time one showed up. I get a pop-up notification from Winolo. Hey, this route just happened on Jitsu. Grab this route on Jitsu. And I'm not getting those now. So obviously there's been some kind of flag put in with me about Jitsu. Or maybe it's because I have a strike, so they're not giving me those. But when I hit my app, it does show them available quite often. So I haven't taken one since. I'm kind of on the fence of fuck Jitsu. I really do want to go in though and talk to Dorothy about what happened. And I really should contact Jitsu about, or not Jitsu, but Winolo about what happened as well. Because it's just not right. It's a pretty whack situation. Anyway, that's what's up with that. God, it took me damn near an hour to spit that story out. Wanted to talk about what happened last night at Factor. Yeah, I need to move along. I don't have time for that. But in a nutshell, super short version, it was total chaos last night. Every line except for number 12 and 20 in operation. Or sorry, 12 and 10. God, how many lines do we have in there? I gotta think about that. Yeah, there's 12 lines. So we have 10 of 12 lines in operation on a Tuesday. Normally on Tuesday, there are no fulfillment lines in operation. Consequently, there's no leadership scheduled, no leads scheduled for that. Well, it went out as overtime. They didn't approve it until last minute for everybody. Hardly any leads showed up. No shock there. What did show up was an unprecedented quantity of worthwhile people. I would say 70% of them who had never stepped foot in that building before. I arrived. I guess I am telling the story, ain't I? I arrived. I woke up I went to bed. I went to bed Tuesday morning. I didn't set an alarm because I never did get a text telling me that I picked up an overtime shift, and I was kind of late putting in the request for it. That's a whole other story entirely, but basically slept in, woke up, saw the text message, but I didn't have time to interact with the website. I just needed to get my ass to work, and then I just didn't have the time to do that, didn't get it done. By the time I got around to doing it, it's like, well, those are given out on first come, first serve, maybe I missed it. So when I went to sleep on Monday morning, Tuesday morning, I didn't set an alarm clock. I did a little bit driving around, got some food, and went to a couple car chargers, and just kind of looked at stuff online, did my morning, early morning routine, and I don't know what time I went to sleep, 7 a.m.-ish, something like that. I didn't set an alarm. I did look at Winolo and see that there were routes available for Jitsu, and I thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck Jitsu. After what they did to me, fuck Jitsu. I went to bed. Figured it's time I got me a good day's sleep. Be nice to wake up when I wake up versus when the alarm jolts me out of bed because I got to go to work. And I ended up waking up to a text message anyway. Not an alarm, but, something I heard on my phone. I looked at it. It was HelloFresh Delivery Network requesting me to come in and work last night. And I almost accepted it. I opened it in work while I looked at it, and I thought, I just woke up. I better check my HelloFresh or my, my Factor Workday text messages. Text message from Factor HR. And about 8:30 in the morning, which they should be aware, people that work fulfillment overnights or anything that's an overnight shift there, that's past our bedtime. They should be aware of that. I mean, that would be like me texting somebody that goes to work at 5 in the morning, texting them at 8:30 at night to let them know that I expect them to be in at 5 o'clock the next morning on their day off. If they went into work the day before at 5 o'clock in the morning, by 8:30 at night, they're probably in bed. I was already in bed. I didn't see it. Woke up to it, and by this time it's like 3:35. I set my alarm clock now for 3:05 because I know I need that time to wake up earlier. Not as good at waking up earlier in the afternoon, and I'm battling a whole lot more traffic trying to get to Factor at 5 than I was trying to get to Factor at 7. By the way, it's 8:05 right now. I looked at that and I'm like, fuck me. This is ridiculous. They shouldn't even be allowed to do this. Get to Factor. Managed to make it on time. I actually managed to make good enough time out there that I was able to stop and get some tortillas and bread from Food City. I didn't have time to go to Fry's, but I did have time to go to Food City. It's a little bit faster in Food City and not as out of the way. Quicker driving in and out as well. Anyway, I had to really squeeze that time to make it happen, and thank God that Food City has got self-checkout. I would never think through a checkout line in time. But I got there, but I end up still being just barely on time, and I go to the time clock, and it won't let me clock in. Time clock is telling me I have to put in my number that I'm not scheduled to work that day. I'm like, no shit, I'm not scheduled to work that day. I just woke up to a fucking text message. And I'm seeing a handful of my other regular people, a couple of which are leads. Milo was one of them. In fact, Milo was coming in at exactly the same time I was, as was Roberta. I felt like Roberta and Milo were the only fulfillment leads that were there. I think they were. I think they were it. I think Maggie was there. Anyway, God, last night was crazy. We're all going in there, and then we're just like Xavier, and he's not a lead, but like he's done the lead thing before. He hates it, but he certainly got a lot of seniority, like even more than I do. And we're all just like, and I managed to be just like jump ahead of them at HR, and then they're like right behind me at HR, and HR, in their typical fucking on-site fucking bullshit Factor HR fashion, is just like, oh yeah, we need to just submit a lost punch on the Zendesk. She hands me a QR code to scan with super tiny text on it. I'm like, that's cool. Do you have a copy of that with text that's big enough I can read? Well, I can read you what it says. I'm like, you know what? I already know what it says. I already know what it is. Are you serious? Like, you can't just fix it so I can clock in or clock me in? It's like, no, just submit it after you finish your shift. And then I told her about the whole thing of like, do you realize like I live damn near Scottsdale. I live like a 90-minute drive away, and when I go to sleep and I haven't got it, she did tell me that if they text us last minute like that there aren't any points for not showing up. Like, if you just don't show up, you don't show up. It just kind of is what it is. But I've heard of so many people, and people actually getting fired for getting attendance points where there was just a glitch in the system. And I don't really monitor that stuff because I've just found the app to be so dysfunctional, and I've never been able to figure it out. I can't seem to keep myself logged in on it, or remember my login for it, or ever recover my login for it. And I've just got tired of fucking with it. And but yeah, I just like, that's what I was told. Anyway, I'm frustrated with that. And there's a bunch of us coming in, and I hear one of the leads saying, another lead's like, hurry up, just get in here, Roberta, get in here, Roberta. There's no leads here. Oh my God, there's so many people. And as I was walking in the building, there's just this huge, massive crowd of Workwhile people out front. And of course, I have some security guys like, are you Workwhile? Because I'm trying to just walk in the door. Are you Workwhile? If you're Workwhile, you need to go over there. I'm like, I just looked at him, I'm like, dude, you must be new. And then somebody else says, Dan, he's not new. But it's great. Like, she addresses me by name, It's like, well, I knew he's not paying attention. I think that's what I said. It's like, used my, key card and got in the gate. And, it's kind of a cocky way to be, but, I've worked in that building since, like, practically it opened. And, like, even when I was Workwhile, like, half the time I didn't even have to adhere to whatever procedures are going on with Workwhile just because I was there so much beyond Workwhile needing to get me clocked in. But yeah, it was pretty. Most people know I was converted to come directly from, which is rarely done, going directly from Workwhile to company hire. But most people know that happened with me, and it was a long time coming. And a lot of people, when it happened, was like, well, it's about the fucking time. God, our HR here sucks. I've been going above and beyond for a long time there. Anyway, I hope that fan noise wasn't too much. Man, to cool it down here. It's hot. Temperature says 125 degrees. Oh yeah, getting a black car in Phoenix was a choice. So anyway, yeah, I was very cognizant of the thing that was said to the, oh my God, Roberta, get in there, there's no leads. And I'm realizing there's an insane amount of Workwhile people. But I didn't really grasp the gravity of the situation until I walked, and it took me a while to get dressed out and walk into the room. I've learned a while ago that, as long as I clock in on time, I can waste a good 5 to 10 minutes without anybody saying shit about it in the break room. And I don't, that's time theft. Is it? Is it not? I'm at work getting ready for work. And the only thing that's changing is that instead of waiting in the cold for them to decide where I'm going, I'm getting myself prepared. So when I go in, I'm just ready to go to it. And more likely going in when a little bit later, I get assigned to an area where I'm more comfortable and will be more productive. Anyway, a little late getting there. I bought the extra groceries, so I'm kind of sorting myself a bag of cold to go in the fridge. Oh, which, by the way, a couple of days ago, I had the first time ever somebody stole my entire bag of fucking food out of the fridge, cold stuff. Like $12 worth of shit, man. I made a stop at Circle K. $3.20, it's paid a little bit more at Circle K because it's still way cheaper than buying from the break room. But yeah, like 3 20-ounce Cokes. I had 2 king-size Reese's, plus I had a leftover applesauce cup, dollar store and Dollar Tree applesauce cup from the day before. But like, that's a substantial amount of stuff. All brand new packaged stuff. Somebody sold a whole fucking bag the night of July 5th. Still miffed about that. I did report it to security. I haven't heard back if they found out anything, but there was a camera directly across the fridge I always use. And I always use the same area in the same fridge. So I'm consistent. Anyway, that didn't happen. But yeah, I sorted my stuff out, and I go in to walk, and I get my glove, or, get myself dressed out, get my hairnet on, hands washed, get my gloves on. I go into I usually go in the room and then put my gloves on, but I go into the room and I see a couple of like full-time people, but pretty low level, like newish full-time people. And just a couple. I see maybe a couple work-well people that are familiar faces, but not ones that I know for being like good, capable, strong workers, like really knowing what they're doing and being on their shit. Because there are a handful of work-well people that are like I was when I was work-well, that have really learned the job and they're on their shit. They're just choosing to stay with work-well because it works for them versus signing on with one of the staffing agencies. And which was the choice I made as well. Anyway, I'm looking at that, and then I'm looking at what's going on in the room, and I'm seeing that there's already, looks to be, well, I can't really see from where I'm at. I can see that there's people over at lines 10 and 1 and 2. I can't really see from where I'm at what's going on at lines 3 and 4 and 5. But I'm noticing that there is food on lines 8 and 11. And the fact that there's even food on lines on a Tuesday tells me that, oh shit, Houston, we got problems here. Or should I say Chicago, we got problems here. And for those that don't know, Factor's originally based in Chicago. Although at this point I feel like there's way more going on in Goodyear than there is Chicago. And I don't know where HelloFresh is actually based. Factor existed before HelloFresh. HelloFresh bought it, but when Factor Goodyear was open, it used to be Factor 75, its own thing in Chicago. When Factor in Goodyear was open, that was well after HelloFresh bought it. And of course I became part of that a couple months-ish after it opened. After already being a part of HelloFresh in Phoenix before Factor opened in Goodyear. Now, I'm not sure if Factor was owned by HelloFresh at the time I started with HelloFresh or not. I really don't know. I don't know when that happened. But at any rate, in the grand scheme of things, I have a lot of, even if I may not be any kind of management, like I certainly have the tenure in that building. People know me. I've been there, like I've been there for most of its existence, and know all the stories and all the lore, and I've seen a lot of changes and whatnot. And at this point, I got stories, anyway, I'm looking and I'm real, but the main thing that really grabs me is I see a handful of people looking confused, and there's usually leadership standing directly across where they're talking to each other and trying to figure out how they're going to divvy up stuff, and hey, we need somebody to do this, somebody to do this, and maybe shipping's telling them, saying, well, they need some new people to try and train in shipping, which I'm not doing that. That's a whole other separate tragedy, a separate story. But although I kind of had to deal with shipping yesterday, and I think that went well, all things be considered. And it's a good thing the one guy that I really yelled at hard the night I broke down, like him and I have long since made amends, because otherwise it would have been a beyond tense situation. In fact, both of the people I yelled at that night, I've since made amends with. There's actually one other guy I yelled with that night that I still don't talk to, but anyway, that is what it is. That guy's always been kind of weird and creepy anyway, so, even if that didn't happen, would he be somebody I'd talk to? Probably not. So, unfortunately, last night I didn't have to deal with him. So anyway, in fact, I don't think he was there. God knows, most of our regular experienced people were not there. Because Tuesday is everybody's night off of fulfillment. It's just a skeleton crew that's working there, binning up extras and prepackaged stuff, doing some cleaning and organizing. We're not making boxes. We had to make a lot of boxes. Holy shit, we made a lot of boxes. Like I said, every line except 2 were running. And it's all these brand new work-well people. It's all work-well people. And when I realized there was no leadership in there, and I thought about the way somebody else had frantically yelled at Roberta to hurry up and get in there. Someday I want to talk more about Roberta. She's an interesting character. I've known her for a long time. Like, I met her shortly after starting at Factor. She used to be just somebody at the bottom in sanitation. Anyway, let me not get sidetracked on that. But yeah, that's when it all clicked, the way that they were frantically telling her to get in there. It was like, I'm kind of surprised at that point. They were like, somebody didn't turn around and say, Daniel, we probably need you in here too. Because probably they should have. But yeah, at that point when I realized that there's just no leadership in the center of the room assigning people, and I know that there's a shit ton of people behind me that haven't made it in yet because work while is super delayed. I figured I should probably just, even though, like, the proper thing for me to do would be stand there and wait to be assigned. Like, I could tell, like, this is not anywhere. We're already off the rails here. This is not a normal day, and probably the way I am here, I should maybe, this is one of those days I need to go above and beyond and be a little more proactive. And I just walked further into the building just to kind of see what was going on. And Rob, like, the head guy for the back half of the factory week, first half of the week, just looks so overwhelmed. And I'm looking around, it's just chaos. And I realized there's just no leadership in there at all. I mean, I'm not saying at all, like, Rob is there, but he's running the whole building. He doesn't have time to answer individual questions at line. But I'm realizing the lines are already staffed with people that don't know what to do, and they're kind of started, but they're not moving. And I figure, well, the best thing I can probably do right now is just help whatever new people need help. Somebody needs to tell them what to do, because they've obviously just been stuck in a room and told go over there and given no direction at all. Typical Factor fashion, typical HelloFresh fashion, and that I should probably just get in there and just help people at this point, and maybe see if there's any situations that need to be resolved, whether that's, where's this meal, where's this ice, do you know how to make this printer work? That's the problem I mostly wanted to solve. Yeah, I think today is a good day for me to do boxes. Thank you. Which I did a lot of boxes, but anyway. And I did that, but I quickly realized that the biggest problem we had was there were a lot of missing meals, and we were doing substitutions again. I hope everybody who ordered Factor this week likes roasted garlic chicken, because you probably got a whole bunch of roasted garlic chicken regardless of what you ordered. Oh, yeah, this week is going to be felt at Factor for a while. Hey, people in the room I work at, we made the best of it. We did. We did the best we could with what we were given, which was mostly a lot of roasted garlic chicken. And first day, never been in the building before, temp workers from work while. But yeah, so I resolved that, and I went to Rob to find out. And it's like, when that happens, usually we get a printout of the box to scan, because you still got to convince the computer that you scanned the right meal, and then substitute. But anytime there's substitutes, like, I need to know what the substitute is, and it needs to be approved, and I need to have a note of that. Well, at this point, Rob gives me this list of all the substitution meals, and it's been printed from, I don't know, like a PDF file or something, some kind of internal software that they have. And the print is so small, I can't read a damn word on it. I'm talking tiny ass print. Like, a normal person would struggle a bit to read this, but for me, lost cause. And I laughed when he handed that. I'm like, Rob, I got bad eyes. He goes, yeah. I said, I believe you when you tell me there's writing on that page, but all I see are a bunch of blurred lines. He's like, he kind of laughs. He goes, I'm like, is there any way you can print that? He goes, I don't know how, but let me try. And damn it, if Rob did not go out of his way and try really hard to print me stuff. And I watched what he was doing, and I'm just like, I think that'll work. He's like, no, but it's still not changing the size of the print. And I'm like, oh shit, you're right. And then I realized how many people were trying to get his attention and how many problems were going on there. And it just hit me that I am wasting too much of this man's time right now, when he has way more important things than my bad eyes to deal with. But obviously I'm not going to be able to do what I need to do without that. Like, this is a bit of a problem. And he goes, don't worry, Daniel, whatever, just when you need to know, just come ask me, and I got you, man. I'm very glad you're here. I'm like, okay, I got this, thank you. And then I walked off, and I realized He probably has no idea I'm not assigned to a line. He probably doesn't even realize the context in which I had come to being in front of him, how I just kind of walked in and started trying to handle problems and just was doing my best to encounter what I'd encountered, which was pretty, out of the ordinary from the get-go. But he had given me enough to solve some of that, so I went forward with what I was working on. And then once I figured that, I was like, I'm looking at just how much that man had on his shoulders and how many people were in front of him just looking for direction, and just how swamped he was. And I'm just like, I can't really keep doing what I started doing, which was handling substitutions and getting forms of people for the substitutions and the substitution meals in place, because I can't read that sheet. And every time I got a question about that sheet, me going up and trying to ask him questions when he had so many other people asking him questions was going to be counterproductive. So I just started walking down the line. I'm just like, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. I really don't know. I don't know what I can do, but I'm figuring like it's gonna hit me. I think I'm gonna walk this way and just look at the situation and just roll with what the voices in my head say to do. And the long line side of the building, like lines 1, 2, 3, and 10, they all seem to be functioning, so I didn't even want to fuck with that. And there actually seemed to be leads over there. The other lines seemed just chaos. But I got line 4 going, line 5 seemed to be going, line 6 seemed to be going, and then when I got to 7 and 9, 8 is in a different area. I'm not sure why they went 7, 9, and they put 8 somewhere else. It just is what it is. But anyway, I get to 7 and 9, and I often work like in the 7 and 9 area. I used to be like the palletizer for line 7 and 9, and when the one palletizer would disappear, I could, before they added the scanner gun, I used to be able to palletize both lines simultaneously, which was crazy. But yeah, I get in there and I realize that they're stuck, but just nobody really knows what they're doing. And I realize they're just standing, like people told them to just get a spot, but nobody told them what to do when they got to the spot. So I just kind of go up the line. I realize there's some boxes probably left behind from day shift, so I go to the scanners and I explain to the scanners what to do for both sides since they're opposite each other. And I basically train everybody down the line, and these guys are eager to work. I got lucky that I got a lot of people from work that were actually eager to learn, eager to work, because that's something I don't often get. I often get people that don't seem interested in work and don't speak English. So I definitely got lucky. I got a bunch of good first-time people that were eager to work and that seemed to be doing good at understanding my hurried speech. But yeah, I got them training. I got them going. Fortunately, somebody had already handled the shipping side, so by the time I got to the end of the line, those guys were square and they were going. And I'm like, but I just double-checked, and they're like, they're good. And they're like, "Are you our lead?" I said, no, I'm not a lead, but it looks like I'm the closest to a lead that this area has until we get somebody, and I'm gonna try my best to get us going here. And so I had some people, "Were you a lead?" I'm like, "No, I'm the guy that goes and finds meals and folds boxes really fast." But I'm probably the most experienced guy, if not in the room, in this end of the room right now. So, please bear with me. Let's do this. And anyway, I ended up jumping on boxes, and I had to sort some stuff out, but I got everything going, both lines. And at one point I thought I should, like, I had things going and things were to the point where I could step away, and I thought, I probably should, now is the time I should touch base with Rob and let him know that's just, because I walked away looking kind of confused because of the whole thing of like, hey, I can't read this paper, and you can't make me one that I can read, and I'm not sure what I'm doing, and you're overwhelmed, so I'm getting out of your face. And I wanted to go back and just let him know, hey Rob, this is what I found. This is what I've done about it. And just so you know, this is what's going on. Like, I've got good. You look like you're swamped with a lot of bad news. Here's some good news about lines 7 and 9. And I said, I'm gonna. There's nobody there who knows how to do it. I said, I'm jumping on boxes on 9, but I'm trying to keep an eye on those lines until there's until you sort out what you're sorting out. I said, but I think I got them going. I think I have everything solid over there. And he goes, no, I don't need you to do boxes. He goes, I need you to lead. I need you to lead. I need you to lead lane 7, 8. He's 7, 8, and 9. And I said, I can do 7 to 9, dude. 8, I don't think so. I said, 8. If I'm at 7 to 9, 8's too far away. He's like, well, just if you do what you can, dude, I really need your help, and I appreciate that. And wow, he gives me a fist bump. He's like, thank you for just taking charge with that. Like, God, I'm so glad you're here. And anyway, at one point, I'm doing the boxes, but I feel like I can lead a line from there, and I rarely see the leads lead the line from that location. But that's the area that of all the stations on the line, that's the one I do feel I am the strongest at. I do think I'm really ace at replenishing, but there's a lot of people that are. But I think I've taken the whole boxing area to another level, to the point where I can like still keep it going when both liner people disappear for a while, or if like in the case of the night before, when the whole replenisher situation falls to shit and nobody's bringing me boxes, like I will get boxes, I will get liners, I'll handle that. I can get my own when push comes to shove. And the other thing is like, well, lead needs to really supervise the line. Yeah, a lot of the leads just stand there and stare at people. Now, granted, they're trying to make rate. Rob straight up told me, he goes, I'm not even looking at rates tonight. I'm just trying to keep this sinking ship afloat and plugging all. And we said that. I said, plugging all the holes with roasted garlic chicken. And he just laughs like, yeah, pretty much. But God, so much roasted garlic chicken. Yeah, he. One thing though is like, I know I don't like a lead just staring over my shoulder watching me work. I really don't. Now, granted, like I should probably be watching people to give them pointers on how they can do the job better. But I figure as long as they're doing it good enough, like they're doing it good enough, you know. My thing is when I'm very cognizant of if there's a slowdown in the line, or if there's a stop in the line, I'm very cognizant of when I'm doing boxes. Because when the line is clicking at a good speed, I'm having to hustle at boxes. And if I'm working steadily at boxes, but it goes idle on a period that I keep stocking myself, but you know, when it would go idle, instead of me walking and grabbing more boxes or kind of assessing where my boxes and liners are, that's when I went and just basically assessed the whole situation of both lines. And then, of course, if, you know, things, I can tell. Anyway, it went really nice. The night went pretty fucking amazing. But am I going to end up having a leadership position there after this? I don't know. Only time's going to tell. To be honest, it's not something I really want. I want to get back into being forklift. But it was, hands down, my most amazing and overwhelming night at Factor. And it's certainly one that people are going to be talking about for a while. It's kind of life-changing. Anyway, it's 8:30. I don't know if I heard back from Courtney or not, but I'm wanting to meet him over at Skipper's for some karaoke, and then at midnight I need to be at HelloFresh Delivery Network. There's no point in me even going home now. I'm just wasting my charge away sitting here running the air conditioner. Oh well. If I didn't know I was going to sit here and talk so long, I'd have stayed plugged in, but whatever. I'm fine. And honestly, I don't need to be at too much of a charge anyway, because when I park at HelloFresh Delivery Network, I got that free charger over at Topgolf. So got to make sure I leave room in the battery for the juice I'm going to get there. Anyway, thanks for listening to my story. If you actually did, I can't believe I talked for this long, but those are two things I really wanted to get out. And anyway, thanks for coming with me on the walk and hearing about my adventures at my boring ass blue collar jobs.